This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Thursday, April 10th of 2025, and we are so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talk with Chelsea Ferrie with the Practical Farmers of Iowa as we discuss another year of their N-Rate Risk Protection Program. We'll also have the closing markets with the folks from agmarket.net. Here first is my conversation with Chelsea as we discuss not only how farmers can get involved with that program, but the main benefits of it as well. So we are on the phone with Chelsea Ferrie. She's the Senior Field Crops Viability Coordinator with the Practical Farmers of Iowa, and we're talking about the N-Rate Risk Protection Program once again. We talked last year about the program and getting farmers involved. To refresh everyone's memory on what the N-Rate Risk Protection Program is and what it does, can you tell us just the basics of that program?
Yeah, so PFI is offering that N-Rate Risk Protection Program. It's a program aimed at reducing risk when making cuts in your nitrogen application. So it's a free warranty-based program for farmers who may be interested in to start lowering some of their input costs for their fertilizer, or maybe also for farmers that have tried in the last year or two to lower their nitrogen rates and are still unsure if that rate's right for them on this farm. So how it works is we kind of you apply, you talk through with a PFI agronomist about your typical application, what would be a comfortable reduction from that. And then if you have a yield loss due to that reduced nitrogen rate, PFI pays out $35 an acre to help cover that loss of revenue.
And then what are the requirements to be enrolled in this program to get those benefits?
Yeah, so first off, you have to grow corn for 2025, and you have to be in Iowa or the surrounding states of Illinois, Missouri, Nebraska, Minnesota, or the southeast part of South Dakota. That corn can't be grown organically or in transition. And then lastly, you have to be willing to make a reduction from your typical application. So usually it's a 20-pound reduction per acre to be enrolled. However, that number is pretty flexible depending on how low your nitrogen rate is to begin with.
And of course, it's really great to have that risk protection for the farmers to reduce their nitrogen. It's a big thing to reduce those inputs, not only financially, but it's better for the environment as well.
Yeah, reducing nitrogen has great benefits for the environment, especially when we consider water quality and nitrates, but also just in emissions reductions. However, it also impacts, farmers' bottom line. So if you can spend less on fertilizer that is ended up actually wasted and your crop's not uptaking it, overall it would help your wallet.
And then when it comes to that initial consultation for lowering those nitrogen rates, does PFI have any, team members who can kind of help out and kind of help farmers figure out how much they should reduce by at first?
Yep, we have agronomists on staff. So even if you just want to, look at your nitrogen rate and have someone else kind of talk you through it, you can go through the program, contact us. We kind of walk through it, and we definitely want to make sure that walk through your typical application, but then also make sure what you're reducing is actually, comfortable and is actually beneficial to your farm. So we kind of walk through what would be a good idea in your own system.
All right, Chelsea. And for anyone who's interested, how long do they have to enroll and how do they start that process?
Yeah, applications are currently open. Applications will close here at the end of this month on April 30th. And the application's pretty straightforward. It's on the website. Even if you're still unsure and just want to learn more about the program, you can go ahead and submit your contact information, and we'll give you a call to kind of chat through any questions you have in the program. I should also note that the program doesn't have any penalty for dropping out. So if you're still unsure about your nitrogen rate, you can go ahead and apply. And if it doesn't work out, you can drop out later. There's no penalty there. Or if you do any late season nitrogen applications and end up not being able to reduce, You can still enroll in the program now, and then if later it comes to it, you can drop out, no penalty.
That again was Chelsea Ferrie with the Practical Farmers of Iowa. We'll go ahead and take a look at the closing market prices next, but first, here's a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Time now to take a look at the closing markets with Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. First off, Kenan, we saw that April WASDE report today. How has that impacted the grain markets?
That report was a good bullish story for corn. So they raised the export number, was the big thing on that report, making, that carry out stocks to number even lower, stocks to usage below 10% now. Corn in May was able to close above that 478 technical resistance number. So all in all, a good day for corn. As far as the beans, they saw that huge tick up yesterday when tariffs were taken off just in a few minutes, and they were able, to end the day more positive. Report was probably more neutral for them. They did increase crushings domestically, was probably the big news on that side of the WASDE. And then wheat, which closed down on the day, probably a more bearish report for wheat on the WASDE. They decreased that export number, which brought the carry out there up. So good news in the corn, pretty neutral in soybeans, and not the best story for wheat, which kind of took the brunt of it today.
I know we had the U.S. export sales report as usual today as well. Pretty much a non-factor. There wasn't too much to report. Moving forward, obviously the tariff news is playing a factor in that. Do we think that markets outside of China might be a little hesitant to keep doing business with the U.S. just due to the volatility? Or, could we see a return to normalcy on those export sales?
That's a good question, and there's a lot of answers, I think. As far as corn, the United States is still king of corn, and world balance sheets are a little tight. If you exclude China and the corn that they store and don't export, we have the corn that we're the major exporter, and a lot's going to depend on corn prices on what we do this season, and if we do grow that 95 million acres and get good yields on it. So I think if the world wants corn, we're probably the most competitive, and they're going to come here. As far as beans, that's more of a story of, China doesn't usually buy a lot from us this time of year anyway. There was a flash sale yesterday, so there was still some exports moving even with the tariff. So I guess on the bean front, it'll be interesting to see if we get any bean movement here anywhere in the world when we don't traditionally get a lot of exports this time of year.
Then moving on over to the livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs trade today?
Yeah, cattle were down today. Probably pressured some by the outside equity markets. That's, we talked in beans how there was that big rally on the Trump announcement that he was suspending tariffs for 90 days. And beans were able to hold it together. The stock market, not so much today. It was retracing a huge amount of what it gained back yesterday, just really pressured today. And some of that might be felt on cattle too, because when we had that large equity reversal yesterday, you saw that big up movement in cattle also. And just something that's interesting to see that for a while there, those two markets were pretty disjointed, and now they kind of seem to be moving more in lockstep.
Right, Kenan, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to get in touch with agmarket.net, how can they do that?
Yeah, check us on the web at agmarket.net and find a broker in your area.
All right, thanks again for the analysis. As always, Kenan, we look forward to chatting again soon.
Thanks, Riley.
Thanks again to the folks at agmarket.net for joining us today and providing great market commentary as always. We'll go ahead and take a look at the closing prices through the market window at iowaagnet.com.
May corn up 9 even at 483 even. May soybeans up 16 1/4 at 1029 even. May soybean meal up 340 at 297.90. Soybean oil up 13 cents at 46.32. Chicago wheat down 4 1/4 at 538 even. Kansas City hard red wheat down 10 even at 558 even. Minneapolis spring wheat down 6 3/4 at 602 even. May oats up 9 1/4 at 339 1/2. On the Merc, April live cattle down $1.95 at 285 cents. April feeders down 97 at 282.77. May lean hogs up 37 cents at 86.50. Pork cutout went unchanged at 93.65. And April Class 3 milk down 3 cents at 17.22.
That's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM, and that also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. You can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM/PM on our YouTube channel. Check in to the channel, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to make sure you see when our videos go live. Don't forget as well to check out our free morning, midday, and closing market podcasts, as well as the Iowa Ag Matters podcast and Pods of Potential. Find those on your favorite podcasting service at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean, or once again on our website at iowaagnet.com under the podcast tab. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.